May the 13th, 2022, guys. It's Friday, end of a long week. Hope everyone has a nice weekend. Take a little break. We finally got some rain here last night. We had some hail with it, and it didn't do a whole lot of damage. Had a few plants kind of bent over, things like that. But we needed the rain, and we got it. So I can't complain, I hope. There was no damage in other places around us. I haven't heard of any, but some of the hail was pretty large. Now, what we're looking at is a website called freightwaves.com, and its CEO is a cat named Craig Fuller. And this is about the supply chains around the world, from cargo on ships to trucks to trains, whatever it has to do with the supply chain. And it's critical information in a lot of ways. But the reason I'm going here now, and before I get any further, there's a lot of information here about the diesel situations getting slim, where the diesel's going overseas from the Northeast, and there's going to be shortages this summer. And I wanted to show you a couple of tweets that, again, Craig Fuller, the CEO of this site, he also is the CEO of Flying Magazine, but he tweeted out a couple of things that were captured and that were put on Zero Hedge about the diesel shortages that are imminent, especially in the mid-Atlantic and Northeast. Let's take a look at that. Now, this is one of the screenshots that he put on his Twitter account. And it looks like it's a DOT messaging piece of equipment there. And probably for truckers, a company called Omnitrax there on the front. It's probably GPS and other information, inbox, outbox you can compose there. But this was on May 5th. And so we are now on the 13th. Attention to all drivers. Hearing from Love's, that's the large truck stop setup, they expect diesel shortages to hit some of their eastern U.S. stores in the coming week. We'll do our best to keep an eye on the situation and remove stores from fuel solutions as we hear about challenges at specific stores. Now, that what they're saying there is this messaging will come on and say such and such Love's does not have gas. They're calling it fuel solutions. And so what we're seeing, this is one, I'll show you the other one. What we're seeing is this, in the mid-Atlantic, Northeast, a lot of fuel is being shipped overseas to combat some of the sanctions that's going on with you-know-who and you-know-who right now, okay? And so that has created a shortage. That and Wednesday night, let me say this, the current administration canceled and are not going to renew any of the upcoming oil leases in the Gulf of Mexico or up in Alaska. So there's going to be more and more shortages. It will create an epidemic of shortages in both gasoline and diesel. Both hit a record high today, both 555 plus on diesel and 440 something on regular gasoline, regular unleaded. Now, another thing is that had prices doubled in this administration. It was 220 under the last one on the last day, and it's now 440 plus. Let's look at that other tweet. As we go over and look at this, I want to show you the entire article from Zero Hedge. It says a lot of it has to do with Bloomberg too, but billionaire refinery and fuel station owner John Catsimatidis warned that the East Coast might experience diesel shortages this summer as inventories hit multi-decade lows and refining capacity slumps. He wouldn't be surprised, he said, to see diesel being rationed on the East Coast. Right now, inventories are low, and we may see a shortage in coming months, CEO of United Refining Company told Bloomberg. Catsimatidis' warning comes as the East Coast diesel inventories have fallen to the lowest level since 1990, 32 years. National stocks are around a 2-decade low. And that's what's indicated here in this graph. You're going back to 2 decades here to, this would be the beginning of 2005. But on the East Coast, it's the lowest level since, again, 32 years. Now, his warning follows a report from the logistics firm FreightWaves. That's the one site we opened this video with. It says 3 very large trucking fleets preparing for diesel pumps at fuel stations to run dry across the mid-Atlantic and the Northeast regions this summer. Now, think about that. If the rationing gas, you can only get a certain amount, especially diesel, everything's on a 3-day supply cycle. Now, the larger the city, the quicker that cycle has to turn around. And you're talking about very large populated areas in the Northeast and the Mid-Atlantic. Think about it. And it's going to cause some major food shortages. Now, here's an image of one of the tweets from, again, Craig Fuller of FreightWaves. And let me pull this up, guys, so maybe you can read it better. And it says, "Good morning. Effective immediately. Make sure you're fueling up at the end of the day." I cut and pasted a message from Love's where many of you fuel currently. The message is as follows. Dear fleet customers, due to historically low supply, diesel availability in the eastern U.S. market is currently limited. Your drivers should start to see the effects of these supply issues in the coming days. We expect to have locations experiencing temporary or intermittent diesel outages. We expect the below states to be impacted the most by the supply shortages: Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, Maryland, and Pennsylvania. I can't tell if there's a state below that or not because it is blocked in this screenshot. But again, that may be that's where the epicenter, and it will spread from there. Europe's getting taken care of, and we're not. That's a shame. But it is what it is, and just guys, prepare. Get the food you're going to need now. And again, diesel hit a record high today, $5.55 or something, and the average on the unleaded $4.42, I think. Think about it, man. And then it's going to get to where you can't get it. You can't afford it, and you can't get it. But the supply chain is going to be the critical factor in breaking the entire system down. There's other things that are happening that are worse than this. This is bad enough. And I'm going to put a link to an article below the video about that. It has to do with the U.S. losing its sovereignty to the NWO happening this month. Anyway, it's not very good news, but it's stuff we need to talk about. We're watching it, guys. You watch it. It's a heads up. Be safe.